name's John Munchmeyer. I am the chair of the Jefferson Area Libertarians. I'd like to welcome you out here. Thank you for coming on this very frigid day. But this is truly a celebration. We are so fortunate to live in this country. The Bill of Rights and the thoughts of our founding fathers is truly revolutionary. We're fortunate to live in a country that's based on individual liberty. A country where the power of the state is subservient to the rights of the individual. Our founders understood at the time that our rights do not come from any constitution or piece of paper or Declaration of Independence. They understood that our rights, as stated in the Declaration of Independence, come from our Creator. We are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And as long as one does not encroach on others' rights, we are free to live our lives without interference from government. Truly a celebration. The Bill of Rights is not a source of rights, but it is a reaffirmation of rights. It was the founding fathers saying, hey, you newly formed federal government, our rights pre-exist you. This is just a reaffirmation that you may not trample upon them. So, without further ado, let's read the Bill of Rights together. Starting with the Preamble. These first 10 amendments to the Constitution of the United States of America were ratified December 15, 1791. Congress of the United States, begun and held at the city of New York on Wednesday, the 4th of March, 1789. The conventions of a number of the states, having at the time of their adopting the Constitution, expressed a desire, in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers, that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added, and, as extending the ground of public confidence in the government, will best ensure the beneficent ends of its institution. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America, in Congress assembled, 2/3 of both houses concurring, that the following articles be proposed to the legislatures of the several states as amendments to the Constitution of the United States, all or any of which articles, when ratified by 3/4 of the said legislatures, to be valid to all intents and purposes as part of the said Constitution. Articles in addition to an amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America, proposed by Congress and ratified by the legislatures of the several states, pursuant to the 5th article of the original Constitution. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Amendment 2. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Amendment 3. No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Amendment 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Amendment 5. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Amendment 6. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Amendment 9. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Amendment 10. Powers not delegated to the United States in the Constitution, prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Howard. Did I miss some? Oops. That's terrible.
Yeah, I thought we kind of got they're all equally important.
Did I miss some? Oh, sorry. Amendment 7. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. Amendment 8. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Sorry, the cold has affected my brain a little bit. But we did get them all in, so that's good. Our first speaker is a professor at the engineering school at the University of Virginia. He's a member of the Libertarian National Committee and served as chairman of the National Libertarian Party during the 2000 to 2002 term. Please welcome Dr. James Lark.
Well, I'd like to welcome you on this lovely day. I'll keep my remarks mercifully brief.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As some of you may have noticed, there are many people who are lamenting the election of the president-elect, and many of them have expressed an interest in the Bill of Rights, in fact the General Constitution, that there are limitations on the power of government. They are actually pointing out that many of the things the president-elect has suggested he might do, he really has no business doing. Indeed, no government has any business doing. And I delight in hearing these things. I have to ask the question, where were these people when many of the powers of government were being expanded during the previous administration, the one that began in 2009? I should also note that about 8 years ago, there were many people who had voted for the administration before the previous administration, the administration of Mr. Bush, who were very much concerned about the incoming administration at that time, that of President-elect Obama. They also seem to be very keen to express a desire for the government to observe certain constitutional rights. They they mentioned in many cases the Bill of Rights. And again, one might reasonably ask, why were you not so concerned when the administration that in many cases you supported, that of Mr. Bush, was expanding the size and scope of government? I would like to suggest that whatever your political party affiliation, if you have any or if you have none, that you might actually want to take a time to read the Bill of Rights, indeed to read the entire Constitution. The Constitution, very much like the Bible, Das Kapital, and other famous works, is often discussed and seldom read. I think you will find that this document is one that recognizes an essential fact of the American political experiment. That is, that governments are instituted among people to protect rights. That we give governments the power, those powers are limited and enumerated, that government basically, if there is not a constitutional warrant for their actions, they just don't have the right to do things that don't have that constitutional warrant. And that's the end of the story. So I hope that as we move forward into a new administration, that people who in the past perhaps were willing to look the other way when government decided to enlarge its powers, when government decided that it didn't necessarily have to abide by the Constitution, that maybe you might, those of you who were perhaps missing in action during previous administrations, now maybe you will, to put it bluntly, get with the program and start insisting that our governments, not just at the federal level, but at all levels, start observing our rights. And that particularly at the federal level, that we get the government, the federal government, back into its proper cage. And that is the cage that is set forth by the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So as we move forward, let us hope that we will see this recent degree of interest on the part of some in the Bill of Rights. We will see this flower fully, and we will see government put back into that cage that is defined by the limitations of the Constitution. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.